It's 10th anniversary of the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This round is Permco MotoAmerica Superbikes at Mid-Ohio. It's our 5th of 6 round for 2024 for Junior Cup from Lexington, Ohio. We are back at the famed Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for race number 1. And what an exciting day it is being back here in Central Ohio. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, we have 3 rounds left in MotoAmerica this year, but for Junior Cup, they skipped COTA. So we only have 4 races remaining. And right now, we have the potential to crown our first #1 plate of 2024.
Yeah, Matthew Chapin has had just an incredible year on his BartCon Ninja 400, Greg. It's all started right here in Atlanta. Our first race of the season. This young man came out and threw the gauntlet down early. Then we go to Road America. He takes the double there. He shows that he can not only race and win in the rain, but he does it in the dry the very next day. He would go on to win a race at Brainerd as well. So 4 wins on the year. But more importantly, Matthew, Greg, he has been extremely consistent, and that's why you see him leading these points.
And he's got 150 to 107, so there's a lot of scenarios to play out. But the easiest one to remember, if he wins both races this weekend, he will be crowned the #1 plate. He'll be crowned the champion. Racing coming up. But this weekend we race with heavy hearts. Aaron Dreyer, father of Junior Cup racers Ella and Avery Dreyer, suddenly passed away on July 11th. July 19th, a celebration of life was held as people remember one of our beloved racing community members. This show is dedicated to the memory of Aaron Dreyer and the Dreyer family, as we continue to admire their strength and determination to keep their racing dreams moving forward.
We are staying with you live here from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for this coverage on MotoAmerica Live Plus and the tremendous group of fans that are all around the circuit here at Mid-Ohio.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Roger, as you see the field making their way to their grid positions right now, 2 races today. These are young riders. What needs to be the focus?
Just trying to get a good start, and I think for a lot of these riders is not let Matthew Chapin get in the lead down into turn 6, because he has shown this week that he has the speed to break away. He's been almost a second quicker than the other kids all throughout practice, so it's going to be important to get a good start and stay with the lead group.
There is Ella Dreyer, number 22. This is the warm-up lap. Pretty big group of riders here, 22 riders on the property this weekend. The penultimate round of their championship. 2 races today and then 2 races coming later this year, later this fall when we get to the championship race at New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Yeah, this is a big warm-up lap for these kids because they haven't seen the track in this condition in a while. This morning was a lot cooler than it is now. We've had some sessions out there. It was pretty green this morning, so you can see they all kind of have their heads down pretty early in this warm-up lap, just trying to see, you know, what the track feels like.
This morning, their warm-up session started at about 8:50 local time here in Ohio, and with the rain that was in the area overnight and the cooler temperatures this morning, it looks like only 4 riders actually took advantage of that morning warm-up session. So to your point, none of these riders have seen this track in a long time. Let's go back over to Greg and Jason for racing.
America Junior Cup coverage at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is brought to you by Permco, a leading manufacturer of high-pressure hydraulic gear, vane pumps and motors, flow dividers, intensifiers, and accessories. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
All right, so welcome back to Mid-Ohio as Junior Cup motorcycles are out on their warm-up lap. And it has been quite a weekend for these young racers. Jason Pridmore, this is Sunday. We got 2 of these races today. We tried getting this thing going on Saturday, and by the time we got to turn 3, it rained. So we have the same starting grid as we've had all weekend. It's Matthew Chapin on pole for Medina and Fernandez.
Then we have Ryan Wolf, Carson King, and Eli Block. On the second of the BartCon bikes is Eli. Avery Dreyer and Ella, they're back-to-back with Solly Mervis on the 3rd row. Logan Cunnison, Reese Frankenfield, and Juliana Fernandez. Then we had Woodworth, Sanchez, Mascaro with Way, Keezy, and Jonathan James outside of row number 6. And a little bit further back, Betancourt, Lloyd, Williams, and Gendron. So, yeah, like you say, Greg, they're going to get to do 2 races today. So this is going to be the first one, and red flag is gone from the front of the grid. Here we go.
Our 11 laps scheduled in Junior Cup. Revs are up. Lights off, and we're away racing. And it looked like the front row got a good start, especially the 39, but a little wheel in the air. Is it going to be the 95 of Chapin who leads us through turn number 1? And now we're headed turn number 2 towards the keyhole. And what a lead. He's got some serious pace, Greg. It's exactly what everybody behind does not want to see. Chapin all weekend, he's had up to a second gap in some of the practice sessions. So for him right now, the 95, I spoke with him yesterday. He had a small slide off yesterday in warm-up. And I talked to him about it. He said, I really don't know what I did. He said, I went into the keyhole, lost the front, no big deal. But you can see it hasn't knocked his confidence. And while the guys behind him are going 3-4 wide going down into turn 6, looks like Fernandez is going to get that spot. It's allowing Chapin to just do what he's doing and get out front. This championship points leader wants to try to win this championship. So the BartCon Racing rider, Matthew Chapin out of Damascus, Maryland at 16 years old, has got a very interesting situation on his hands, as this is our first of our 4 remaining rounds for Junior Cup in 2024, and the last season of Junior Cup, as this class converts to MotoAmerica Talent Cup for 2025 and beyond. And they're not going to be racing Ninja 400 any longer as of next season, but they are right now. So Chapin trying to do the checkout. Not an easy thing to do in this class, especially with the long straightaway that we have here at Mid-Ohio. But right now, Chapin is turning the screws, and onto the front straightaway he comes, and we'll get a good look at the margin at the line. So Chapin comes across with a 1.2 second margin over Fernandez, Carson King, Ryan Wolf, Medina in the mix, Ella Dreyer in front of Eli Block, Solly Mervis in the top 8, Avery Dreyer 9th, and Isaac Woodward. Go off in the background. It looked like there was a bike that went straight off in the background, Greg. I didn't get a number, obviously, but yeah, this battle for second is now kind of just going to Jaden Fernandez. He's done a good job as well. He's been fast all weekend, and you can see him trying to break away from that battle for third, and he's going to do what he can to try to run down Matthew at the front. So we'll be keeping an eye on those splits as Ryan Wolf is going to sneak through. Oh man, he runs onto the grass. Oh man. But he's able to, it looks like he made that pass. He may have lost, yeah he did. He lost some momentum there. So it's going to be back to Eli, or is it Ryan Wolf? No, Ryan Wolf and Carson King, I think. So King does a nice job of holding on to that spot. You see Medina is back in the back of them now. And he's going to go by Wolf as he goes down the inside. Carson King is on the 32 machine. That's a Royalty Racing Ninja 400. And now we have this gaggle behind us, as we have more riders battling it up. Welcome the third member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, into the mix.
Greg, Matthew Chapin set sail early on in this race, trying to break away. I talked to him yesterday, and he said the bike is in absolutely perfect condition. He also feels he's got a bit of an advantage over some of his competitors because he's been to Mid-Ohio quite a bit. Being from the Northeast, he's from Maryland. He's been down here. He was here just a couple weeks ago for the vintage days that they had out here. Very comfortable at this track, whereas his competitors are just seeing the track for the first time this weekend. And when I talked to him about the championship implications, you know, I'm a bit of a talker, but if my math is correct, he could potentially wrap it here this weekend if my numbers are right. And I asked him about it. He couldn't be more calm or unbothered by it. Like, truly just a cool customer when it comes to Matthew Chapin. Yeah, and of course your math is right. If he wins this race and the other race we have later on today, he'll be crowned Junior Cup National Champion. But so much racetrack in between now and then, with 8.5 laps to go. But Chapin goes across at a 137.984. And you can see here that Carson King's done a really nice job solidifying this third, but Yandel Medina has come back. Looked like he was falling back a little bit, but the 39 now trying to make a charge, and he's going to make that pass going down into turn number 6. So Yandel Medina goes through a little bit further back. You can see
some groups starting to form up. This is going to be a big battle for third, so we'll keep an eye on the lap times here for all these different riders. Ryan Wolf has gone backwards, and Greg, sometimes when you run off a track like that and you get off the inside, kind of wonder if he's bent a wheel or done something to the bike, because Ryan had pace. Then you can see that big gap now as Solly Mervis has jumped up another spot. Looks like he's up to 7th, so he's trying to get in on the back right now of this battle between Ella Dreyer, you can see here, with Eli Block.
Ella Dreyer really having a great second half of this season, pouring on the gas and mixing it right up towards the front. And the thing about the 14-year-old Dreyer is she's got a lot of aggression on the brakes. And when you have these these bikes are basically, Jay, all the same. So what you can do is a little bit of suspension and a little bit of gearing changes. And so where you need to make your passes is either ride around the outside of people or do what she just did into turn number 1, Ella, the number 22, and make a pass on the brakes.
And you watch how she rides. She rides with such a simplicity. We had a couple laps of her that our cameras followed the other day in one of our practice sessions, and you and I sat here discussing it, and she just looks like everything just comes to her very easy. It looks like that's Avery Dreyer again. Avery Dreyer has had just a shocking year trying to defend this championship this year. Doesn't look very happy about it either, but it's just been a bummer for this year for the number 1 plate.
Yeah, he's been down a couple times this weekend, and it has just been one of those things for Avery Dreyer. So the 32 now makes a pass. So Carson King on Yandel Medina. So Medina on that New York safety track racing machine at 15 years old, loses the spot for now, and there's Ella Dreyer just off in the distance. So for the 22, the question is, can she make up the gap to run with these two and possibly find herself on the podium yet again? So Matthew Chapin, 1.8 seconds, now up to 2.3, 2.5 over Fernandez. So Chapin continues to put the pressure on the rest of the field. This is what you like to see to someone who would be champion.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see here Eli Block, he's doing his best to try to get up there and put another Barcon bike up on the grid. He's been battling some injuries this year, Greg, and he, the little interactions that I've had with him, he's like, Jay, I'm just dying for that dry weather podium. I'm getting a couple little reports that it's sprinkling ever so slightly outside again, so we'll keep an eye on that. But for Eli Block, he's trying to go forward, and Ella's just trying to do it with him. You see Carson King and Medina have done a nice job just pulling away ever so slightly from Eli and Ella, so they got a little bit of work, and there's Solly just behind, and then behind him we've got Logan Cunnison and Ryan Wolf. Yeah, Ryan dropped all the way back to 9th, and rounding out our top 10 is Reese Frankenfield.
Yeah, so this is really good for both the 92 of Block and the 22 of Dreyer, as they're going to work together to try to pull themselves down this back straightaway and get closer to these two in front of them. There's the live championship standings. If Chapin is able to pull this one off, it's going to be a 55-point lead. But after this race, we still have 75 points remaining in this championship to get. So it's still the same situation, but a 55-point margin would be pretty comfortable for Chapin.
And they've done a nice job. They've done a nice job, haven't they, Greg? Eli and Ella have kind of drawn up to the back of these two again. So for Medina, he's got to try to finish second. He's got to try to limit damage, obviously points-wise and things. And but Chapin, man, you got to be impressed. Both him and Jaden Fernandez out front. Jaden's keeping him pretty honest, though. 2.5 second lead at the front, but Fernandez has done a good job of just going along with him. And then we got this big battle right now.
We do, but unfortunately for Solly Mervis, who's had a really great run in 7th place, he's kind of trapped in this 1 second no man's land gap. He's got to be able to find a little bit of speed in those corners. Does Mervis, in order to sit on the back of these riders. There he is, the number 25 of Solly Mervis.
He's just out of that drafting place.
Just out of it.
Like you're saying right now, he's just barely out of it, and he can sniff it, and it's the worst feeling when you can see 4 riders kind of almost working together. But if there's, like I say all the time,
ooh, yeah,
he thought about it, right? That's what's going to help Solly draw up to the back of these 4 riders in front of him. If they start to engage just a little bit, and you can see here he has closed that gap now too. So now we're going to have a 5-rider duel for this final podium spot if he can just drop onto the back of him. And usually at the end of this straightaway, Greg, if they go 2-3 wide going into turn 6 and play games on the brakes down here like you're going to see right now, this will help him draw up to the back of them.
39 Medina off the back straightaway will lead the way. Ice Barn Racing Mervis just back there. Couldn't quite get the draft on the back straightaway, but he's been able to make it up in some of these corners. As you can see, that Mervis is starting to close on the back of Ella Dreyer. But what he needs is these 4 riders to rough themselves up and slow themselves down. But Mervis, in one of his best positions he's been in since he began racing in Junior Cup. And he's got the very talented and very fast Ella Dreyer in front of him, Eli Block, Carson King, and of course, the 39 is Medina. All the while, Matthew Chapin out to a nearly 4-second lead over Jaden Fernandez, who has about 5 seconds over this battle for 3rd place.
And you kind of at this point know that you're not going to get away from those around you. So any kind of little gap that you might see Medina pull, Eli Block has now taken that next spot. He's gotten by Carson. Carson looks like he's trying to line him up going down into turn 1. He'll make that pass. Will Carson King on Eli Block. So they've just got to be a little bit careful not to mess each other up, Greg, to allow Medina to keep pulling away at the front, but they should be on the back of him.
Little over 4.5 laps to go here in Junior Cup. It's Chapin, Fernandez, and Medina. Onto the back straightaway we go. The battle for 3rd between 5 riders. The 39 is Yandel Medina. 32 Carson King, 92 Eli Block, 22 Ella Dreyer, and the 25 is Solly Mervis, who finds himself in a really interesting position for the first time in his young racing career, and a pass up the inside off the back straightaway. Side by side they go, and it's got to be Medina who really has position and is able to turn his motorcycle back to the left and hold on to 3rd.
Carson wants that podium though, doesn't he?
He does.
See, he doesn't want to get shuffled back too far. He was behind Eli, and he was able to get through on him in turn 1 and close that gap back down to Medina. So, all 5 of these riders know what they're battling for at the moment. We're going to have 4 to go when they come by this next time through.
And not at 100% is Solly Mervis, by the way, who had an incident Thursday's practice.
Actually, Friday I think it was.
Friday's practice, where he actually fell off the bike. Oh, as Ella Dreyer has so much corner speed, she had to check up. That's going to get a few bike length gap. Boy, with these Junior Cup machines and not a lot of power to make up ground like that, that's going to cost you a couple bike lengths. Got to have these corners, and there's a pass for 3rd place. So Carson King getting after it once again. A nice move from King to take over 3rd spot. A little over 3.5 laps remain in Junior Cup, race number 1 here at Mid-Ohio. And the battle for 3rd place is as close as you like it between 5 riders. Out front is Chapin. He's got 4 seconds over Jaden Fernandez, who has 5 seconds over this battle. As they go down the back straightaway, this is where Junior Cups draft and pass. Here we go. The end of this straightaway, they go 4 wide. Everybody looking for some room. And Medina doesn't leave the door open for anybody to make some moves. But it looks like it's got to be Dreyer. Ella Dreyer now works her way. She was 4th in this battle, now works her way up to 2nd.
And you saw, Greg, you called it just now in the last corner. She just drew up onto the back of the rider in front of her and had to let up. But you can see, I think it's a combination of her skill, obviously, her weight as well. She was able to get by the 2 guys down the back straightaway and put herself in a position to get up there and battle with Medina. This will start to get a lot more frantic when we see 2 laps to go, because they're all going to want to try to position themselves to be in a spot where they get into this little area of the track. The last couple of turns, very difficult area to pass in through here. So you really want to lead after you go through Thunder Valley. You really want to try to find a way to lead over through Thunder Valley, and you should be able to lead the pack across the line. This time it would have been Medina. And now Carson King again looks down the inside, super strong as Carson King out of the last corner and breaking into turn 1 as he runs a little bit wide.
Yeah, but Carson King, he's got turn 1 dialed in, is able to get the bike turned, take position. Now he's got a couple of bike lengths of work to do to get back onto the tail section of the 39 Medina. So Carson King on that Royalty Racing Ninja 400 out of Illinois, Caseyville, Illinois, having a good run. Here is our championship points leader and your leader on the racetrack.
Yeah, and he's gone. Look at this gap he's pulled out over Jaden, who's also done a really nice job, has Jaden Fernandez. We've seen him run up front throughout the course of the year as well. But this right here is really a cemented podium spot for him as he's running in second spot and got this gap over this gigantic battle for third that is still going on. And look who's found his way to the front of that. Whoa. Carson King with Medina now, and Ella has just dropped back into fifth with Eli Block and Solly just still sitting there. He's, you know, Greg, it just looks like he hasn't been quite close enough to get in the draft of these guys down that back straightaway. But he's probably could even be playing cards a little close to his chest too. He's got a good run here. Can't quite do anything, but he's really on the back of them now.
I wonder too if Mervis has been in this position before, if perhaps maybe a gearing choice on the back straightaway might be holding him back just a little bit. And of course, with 2 races in one day, they'll look at that and to see if they need to make improvements for race number 2, as we now have 2 laps to go here in race number 1. And it's Chapin Fernandez and this battle. Carson King starting to pull a little bit of a gap with 2 laps to go. The rest of this field is going to be desperate to hold on to him. However, in a couple corners, he's got the long back straightaway for these competitors to see if they can do something with him. So they're close back on him as they go through this section of racetrack. Now it's to the famous keyhole. And look at the tight line from the 22 Ella Dreyer. Wow. Boy, she tries to go underneath. Is she going to get that done to get the bike upright and start driving out of the corner? These things need a lot of speed, but they're side by side.
Now Solly should have a 3-rider draft in front of him. He could probably pull to the right here a little bit. He's going to take the long way around as he gets up alongside and past Eli Block, going down into 6. Mervis makes a big move. He's going to get by Medina as well. So that triple bike draft really helped the 25 as Ella did a good job going through the keyhole up underneath Medina, drafts Carson King and puts herself up into 3rd spot now with Carson 4th, Mervis 5th, and then Medina and Block trying to figure out what they're going to do with these guys in front of them.
So far, by the way, the 25's best result, he was able to get a 6th place finish. So Solly Mervis in a really good spot right now at his coming out party to try to get himself onto the podium. It looked like he was going to make a move there for 4th place. It cost him a little bit. Looked like he couldn't get those downshifts done possibly, but he's going to lose position on the racetrack. And how about this now? All of a sudden, Ella Dreyer finds herself in 3rd place. To the line they go. They're going to see the white flag. It's the final lap. This is the last position on the podium. This could be a massively emotional podium for Ella Dreyer and all of her family and the fans and people in the MotoAmerica paddock.
And that's where Carson's been strong, and Eli was able to get up underneath Carson King there. He's going to run a little bit wide here. As you can see, they both got through that turn 2-3 area pretty quickly. Now it's going to be a battle of draft and down this back straightaway, and who can put themselves in a position. The front 2 have actually gapped just a little bit, and you might think, well, that's good, but Carson King's going to get a nice run here once he puts that bike into top gear and these 2 get side by side. He's going to feel that effect of the draft going down that back straightaway.
Eli Block tried to pull out and pass Ella Dreyer. It was a little early. He's going to do it on the brakes now. Here he goes, but Ella's so deep on the brakes, she does not let that happen. So Dreyer is holding on to the position, and she's been so good at taking tight lines, it's going to be really hard to pass her. There's only a couple opportunities left as Chapin still leads the way out front with Jaden Fernandez as we look at this battle for 3rd, as everyone in this paddock is holding their breath to find out how this is going to finish.
That would have been a place where Eli could have maybe turned it back up underneath Ella there, but she did a nice job. Look, she's running pretty defensive. Eli, though, gets a great run, and he's going to put himself in a good position in a very technical turn 13. Eli goes up underneath Ella. Is he going to be able to hold that line? Now he's got to run it in here nice and tight. He's got to keep it tight here, Greg, and he's done a good job, has Eli Block, to move himself into 3rd.
So the checkered flag flies, and Chapin has already taken the checkered flag. Fernandez in this battle of 3rd as we come across the line, and it's got to be Eli Block ahead of Ella Dreyer, Medina, Carson, and Solly Mervis with his 2nd best finish of his young career. But it's all about this guy right here, number 95, Matthew Chapin, with a huge victory and another 5 points over the rest of this field plus. in his march towards the Junior Cup National Championship. When we come back to Mid-Ohio, we're going to talk to our winner and find out how his 3.4-second victory was.
We're watching along with you here on MotoAmerica Live Plus, and Roger, Greg White said it, everyone around the circuit holding their breath. That was up here as well.
Yeah, Ella was doing just such a great job on that last lap, but, you know, lost out there to Eli. I think a little bit of experience play into play there, but still for her, what a great ride. She's struggled a little bit Friday outside that top 10 at the end of Friday, but she's fought her way up toward the front all weekend and just barely misses the podium. But this guy here, he showed the pace all weekend. He got a great start. His competitors did not want to see that, and he did what he needed to do. He put his head down early on, broke the draft, continued to pull away, and he didn't let, you know, get in those battles with four riders having a braking duel down into turn 6.
Think about the season that Matthew has been able to put together, and you know there's still a whole weekend of racing left. As a young rider, to get your first win in a championship season, but now he has 5 wins in this championship season to potentially be able to wrap up a title with a whole round remaining. As a young rider, that's huge.
It's huge, and that thing, he needs to just be himself and not get tight and not change anything that he's doing, because he's doing everything the right way, and he's had such an incredible year. And it's kind of wild, you go into a year and you've never won a race, and then you know all of a sudden you're the title favorite mid-season, you're leading the points. He's in a totally different position that he's been in. We talk a lot about during practice and qualifying confidence, and you can just see it in his riding. You can see him in the paddock. You hear him in his interviews. His confidence is just a totally different person than we've seen at the first round.
The last couple of races have been won by less than a second. Actually, looking back through all the way back to the first race at Road America, the last races have been won by less than half a second. So this 3.4-second lead that Matthew built up today, going into another race this afternoon, that's going to be nothing but a boost of confidence.
Boost of confidence, and he's going to try to do the same thing. And I think his competitors are going to see that, and they know that they are going to have to take their shots early on. You know, turn 1, turn 3, all the way down into turn 6 on that first lap. You know, might be a little bit of aggressive, but don't let him get out there. He proves he can do the lap times by himself.
It's a great day for Bart Kahn and having Matthew take home another win, but Eli Block being able to also finish on the podium.
Yeah, that was a great ride by Eli there. He put himself in a great spot on that last lap. Able to make the pass. Good run for him through Thunder Valley and put himself on the inside through there, which kind of gives him the corner. And from there, you know, Ella was on the outside, and eventually she has to shut off.
You know, we saw it here also, Eli Block being able to finish on the podium, but starting from that second row, Ella Dreyer being right there in the hunt for a podium position, but starting on the third row. A lot of times, the front row, that's who carries us through those first couple of corners, but this is a very short straightaway in relation to other road courses. How does that impact that start?
Well, you don't have the long draft to the start-finish line, so if you are qualifying a little bit back, it's a little bit harder to work your way toward the front, but that back straightaway, that run out of the keyhole on the first lap is just so important to be able to get in that draft if you didn't qualify where you want and get in that battle. And Jaden Fernandez did an awesome job as well, breaking himself away from, by the time he got into second, Matt was too far ahead, their lap times were too close. He did a great job breaking himself from the rest of the battle, third on down.
Normally, these riders have a whole night to look over their data from the first race. They go back, they watch the video, they watch the lap-by-lap charts. They only have a couple of hours now to get ready for the second race. A lot of work that will need to be done by some of these teams. Some of them, it'll just be a gas and go. Let's hear from these riders and go back over to Greg, Jason, and Hannah.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is brought to you by Permco, a leading manufacturer of high-pressure hydraulic gear, vane pumps and motors, flow dividers, intensifiers, and accessories. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Let's take a look at the results from Junior Cup race number 1. It's Chapin over Fernandez, Eli Block, Dreyer, and Medina, your top 5. And Hannah is down in victory lane with our winner.
Big weekend for Matthew Chapin. And Matthew, you had to wait quite a long time for this one, for race one, but you got the job done. You led every lap, head down, all race long. Tell us about it.
Oh man, it was a great race. Pulled the whole shot, and I knew I had the pace to get away, so I just put my head down, did some fast laps, and man, it was a great race.
Big congratulations to Matthew Chapin. Second place today, Jaden Fernandez. Jaden couldn't quite hold on to Chapin there, but you held on to the podium spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race. I got another good start and tried to hold on to Chapin, but, you know, he was a little too fast, but we'll try to get him next race. I want to help everyone that's been helping me out, Warriors in Need, Lido Graphics, Inspection Specialties, Back to Movement Denver. Rossi and Steve Moore have been helping me out, KYT, and really everyone that's been helping me out. It was a great race, and I had a lot of fun.
Congrats, Jaden Fernandez. And rounding out your podium in third place today, Bart Kahn bookends on the podium. Eli Black, no, you were really hoping to get your first win in the dry, but a third place finish nonetheless. How was it?
That's the most excited I've ever been for a third place in my life. You know, race was really good. Everyone in that pack was really, they were getting 70, so the track wasn't too great, so I knew where I was faster than some other people, so I waited until the last lap, made the pass to Ella, and she rode good today. You know, first race back since what happened, and she did awesome. And, you know, I got to thank my dad, the whole Barcon team, KYT helmets, Dunlop tires, Anthem leathers, Penguin Road Racing School, Eric Woods here to represent on Monday, come out. And, yeah, everyone else, thank you guys so much.
Eli Black fired up for his third place finish, guys.
What a race it was for third, and what a job this young man did. And of course, the question on everyone's mind is what is happening in the championship, in the point standings, because for the young Matthew Chapin, he has got this championship just over the horizon, and it's 175. So now he's got 57 points over Medina. Now the situation, Jason, is really clear. If he leaves this weekend with 51 or more points, they're going to give him the #1 plate after the race that we have later on today.
Yeah, and I think that there's no reason for him to change game plans. He can literally go out and do exactly what he did here. He has pace on everybody. Get away from that field and go.
Yeah, plus it looks like he's got something in reserve in the tank. However, there is weather in the area, and the Junior Cup race #2 is still hours away. So you want to make sure you stick around and find out how that race unfolds. Can Chapin win this championship, or will this roll on? We'll see ya.